So guys, I divided this video into three parts. So your first part is the distal radio ulnar joint, the second one is the wrist complex, and the third one is the hand complex. So guys, before starting the distal radio ulnar joint, first let's talk about the articulation of the proximal radio ulnar joint. On ulna you got the radial notch, so the head of the radius is articulating with the radial notch of the ulna. So this is the articulation of the proximal radio ulnar joint. So now if we talk about the distal radio ulnar joint, so on radius you got ulnar notch, so the head of the ulna is articulating with the ulnar notch of the radius. And guys, if you are still confused on which side of the hand is your radius and ulna, so just remember on the thumb side you got your radius and on the pinky side of the finger you got ulna. So guys, your wrist complex is made up of two joints. First is the radiocarpal joint and the second one is the midcarpal joint. So let's first talk about the radiocarpal joint. So guys, if you see the name of the joint, which is radiocarpal, so it should be between the radius bone and the carpal bones of your wrist. So guys, you got 8 carpal bones in your wrist: scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, pisiform, trapezium, trapezoid, capitate and hamate. So guys, there is a mnemonic to remember all these carpal bones. So mnemonic is "she looks too pretty, try to catch her." So S for scaphoid, L for lunate, T for triquetrum, P for pisiform, then T for trapezium, then again T for trapezoid, C for capitate, H for hamate. Back to the radiocarpal joint. So the radiocarpal joint is formed by the radius, and guys, there is something known as TFCC, triangular fibrocartilage complex. I will tell you about that, and the carpal bones. So guys, only 3 carpal bones take part in your radiocarpal joint: scaphoid, lunate and triquetrum. So again, if I summarize the radiocarpal joint, so the proximal segment of the radiocarpal joint is your radius and the TFCC, and distally it is formed by the scaphoid, lunate and triquetrum. The radius in the radiocarpal joint, it is having a concave surface, and the bony landmarks of the radius is, first you got the scaphoid facet, as you can see in this picture, which articulates with the scaphoid carpal bone. Okay, and the second one is the lunate facet, which articulates with the lunate bone. Now let's talk about the TFCC, the triangular fibrocartilage complex. It is the proximal part of your radiocarpal joint. So it is a load bearing structure located on the medial aspect of your wrist. Medial aspect means, guys, on the ulna side. So it is a complex that is providing you with the major contribution to the wrist stability, and it is located between the ulna and 2 carpal bones, lunate and triquetrum. Your TFCC complex comprises of an articular disc, ulnar collateral ligament, dorsal and palmar ligaments, your ulnocarpal ligament complex, and the meniscal homologue. And guys, all the ligaments we will be discussing later in the video. So guys, first let's discuss about the meniscus homologue, because it is a very important structure in the TFCC. If you see the meniscal homologue in this picture, so it extends from the ulnar styloid process to the triquetrum carpal bone. And guys, it works like a buttress to support the carpal bones. So guys, buttress means like it is a structure. If you see this picture, in this picture you can see there is a structure. This structure is helping to support this wall. So same with the meniscus homologue, it helps as a buttress to support the carpal bones. Now let's talk about some angulations. So the first angulation is the inclination of the radius. So guys, the average inclination of the distal radius is 23 degree, and this occurs because your radius is longer than the ulna. And also the distal radius is tilted 11 degrees palmarly. Two terminologies I want to talk about. First is the ulnar negative variance. So the ulnar negative variance means the ulna is short with the comparison to the radius at the distal end. And ulnar positive variance means the distal ulna is longer than the distal radius. Imagine now there's a guy known as Vedant and he was playing cricket one day and he fall on the outstretched hand and he fractured his distal radius. Now because of that fracture, Vedant loses the length of the radius and the normal radial inclination. So guys, the normal radial inclination is 23 degree. So now he lost the normal radial inclination because he lost the length of the radius relatively to the ulna. So guys, these changes would likely to be result in the loss of range of motion and the likelihood of the future joint degeneration. So guys, my point is to tell you that the curvature, the inclination of the radiocarpal surfaces and the length of the ulna in relation to the radius is a factor that helps you in the proper functionality of the joint.